This is Covering the Spread, part of the FanDuel Podcast Network.
Happy Election Day, everybody. And with it being Election Day now on the calendar, it means we're getting to the part of NFL season where we finally know, I think, which teams are good in the NFL, which teams may not be as good. And it does kind of get you excited. You know, okay, I'm looking forward to betting on Team X or betting against Team Y for reason X, Y, Z. And fortunately for me, the team I want to bet on is Baltimore, and they're on a bye this week. But I think we're getting a firmer grasp of which teams are good. We can hopefully parlay that into some bets for week number 10. I do think there are a couple of spots we can look at for this week where my numbers are showing value. We're going to break down the initial read of my numbers of week 10, let you know what bets I'm laying down right now, which ones I am not betting, despite showing value, and hopefully getting you set to win some money once again in week number 10, and also recapping what went down last week. This is Covering the Spread right here on the FanDuel Podcast Network and numberFire.com. My name is Jim Sonis. I am a senior writer and analyst for numberFire.com. Here to give you our first look at NFL week number 10, let you know what I am seeing on the board over at FanDuel Sportsbook and how to digest that based on what my numbers are saying, based on my own personal models. Like I said, we'll also go through what went down last week here on the show, but a full jam-packed week once again here on Covering the Spread. College football coming up tomorrow with Dr. Red Fang. We've got Ryan Williams back with us on Thursday, JJ Zacharias on Friday, talk about some NFL player props. So a jam-packed week here, but also I do want to give a sneak preview that we got other good stuff coming up on future Tuesdays here on Covering the Spread. We're probably going to get Ed on Tuesdays a couple times to talk some World Cup because that's not too far down the line. We're going to have Tom Vecchio on to talk some NBA at some time. So these Tuesdays, it's just a first look for today, for this week at the NFL, but we're going to have some more stuff here down the line as well to get you set for other sports going on during the fall. It's not just football season, but we're talking about all that stuff down the line as well. So make sure you are subscribed to Covering the Spread wherever you get your podcasts. And while you're there, if you like what you hear, leave us a rating and review as well. Also up on the FanDuel YouTube page if you want to watch a video version instead. Now is the perfect time to download FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook, because right now, new customers get a no-sweat first bet up to $1,000. That's free bets back if your first bet doesn't win. Try out features like same-game parlays, play your way, and bet on more than just the final score. Wager on everything from touchdowns to total yards to catches, all on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. So sign up today for your no-sweat first bet. Make every moment more this season with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Must be 21 plus and present in select states. First online real money wager only. Refund issued as non-withdrawable free bets that expire in 14 days. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. In Arizona, 1-800-NEXT-STEP or text NEXT STEP to 53342. In Connecticut, 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org/chat. In Indiana, 1-800-9-WITH-IT. In Wyoming and Kansas, 1-800-522-4700. Or in Kansas, ksgamblinghelp.com. In Louisiana, 1-877-770-STOP. In New York, 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. Or in Tennessee, call the red line at 1-800-889-9789. Let's take a look here at the spreads and money lines where my numbers are showing value here for week number 10. And we'll start things off on kind of a bummer note, at least for me, and that is by betting against Justin Fields, which I don't want to do. I think Justin Fields is super fun. I've had a lot of fun watching the past couple of weeks, but my traditional model, which of course, if you're a new listener, is a blend of a prior with 2022 data, that traditional model says the Lions should be favored in this game. But the 3-point underdogs on the road with the money line at plus 128 at FanDuel Sportsbook, and I will take the money line here at plus 128. The Lions passing offense was still decently efficient last week without TJ Hawkinson, and they didn't have Josh Reynolds in that game. He could be back here. Still no DJ Chark, because I think he still has 1 or 2 more weeks left on IR before he can come back, but could get Josh Reynolds back. That would help things at least a bit. Chicago's defense, not very good. We didn't really see that a lot against the Patriots. We did see that in the Dolphins game for sure. And the offense for Chicago has been a lot better, and that does matter. But I think this game could just feature a lot of points. And I think Detroit is equally capable of putting up those points on their side of the ball. The implied win odds here for Detroit are 44%. I've got them favored again in my traditional model. So I will take the money line here, plus 128, and go with the Lions. I did check back in my model to see how often it's recommended the Lions this year, because I didn't think it had been very often, but this is actually the third time in 9 games they've played. It said there's been value on the money line. One of those games was last week, and they beat the Packers straight up. So I probably should have listened then. I will listen now and take them. I respect what Justin Fields has done. I do think it's been fun to watch him. I think the offense is definitely evolving, and that's intriguing for sure, but still do think we might have a bit of an overreaction here in making them 3-point favorites at home. Looking at the 2022 only model, that one is a little bit less bullish on Detroit. It has this game, Chicago favored by 0.69 points. So 0.69 points, effectively a toss-up, money line plus 128. So either way, the traditional model or the 2022 only model, which is a different blend of stats, but it has no prior in there as well. I do think there's enough in there for me to go with the Lions at plus 128. The second one will be a spread. I think you could go money line here if you wanted, though. That's on the Chargers plus 7 against the 49ers. My traditional model has a 4-point game favoring the 49ers here. By taking the points, I get a push on 7, I get a win on 6, and get a win on 3. So getting some key numbers in my favor by taking the points here, which is why I'll go that way versus taking the money line. This model does include a downward adjustment for no Mike Williams. I'm assuming no Keenan Allen as well. So I'm marking him out. And also has an upward bump for the 49ers with Christian McCaffrey being there. Even when I make those adjustments and I assume that the Chargers are without their top 2 pass catchers, I still can't get to 7. And remember, this is the model that told me to bet the Falcons last week. That didn't win, obviously. But I felt good about that bet. Got closing line value on that bet. I thought had a chance to win that bet if Drake London hadn't fumbled on the goal line. So this model said to bet against them this past week and now likes them. I think, again, maybe an overreaction to what we've seen here of late from the Chargers. So I will take the Chargers plus 7. That's minus 110 over at FanDuel Sportsbook, and I do feel pretty good about that one too. The 2022 only model has this one a bit closer. It has 5.24 points in favor of San Francisco. So directionally both pointing towards the Chargers. The 2022 only one a bit less bullish on them. And as discussed last week, I built that model specifically to be lower on the Chargers. So even that one saying to bet the Chargers here, if that one's saying it along with the model I trust more, I'm okay taking the Chargers plus 7 and riding with that one here. One bet that my 2022 only model likes a lot is the Broncos. Their money line is plus 124 against the Titans. Spread is plus 3 for that game. The 2022 only model says that the Broncos should be favored here. It ranks their defense as among the best in the league. And obviously Bradley Chubb being removed does change that, but still an impressive defense regardless. Even though that model is not as high on their offense, it is higher on the Broncos offense than the Titans. My traditional model, which includes a prior, thinks the spread should be tighter, but it doesn't show a ton of value here. So the one I trust more says I'm not as into the Broncos, but I actually do think there is value in the money line, the Broncos here at plus 124. I like the inputs of the 2022 only model. I know that it's not being swayed by that prior I had in for the Broncos being a bit too high on them. You know, I didn't bet them week 1, actually saw value in the Seahawks there, but did bet them weeks 3, 4, and 5. So this one doesn't have that prior in there. I know it's not kind of tainted by what the preseason thoughts were, and it still says that the Broncos are awesome, based largely on their defense. Again, no Bradley Chubb does impact that, but I don't think it impacts it enough where I can overrule a game where it says the Broncos should be decently heavy favorites. I'm not sure they should be decently heavy favorite, but I get them showing value in the money line here. So I will take the money line on the Broncos as well, plus 124 at FanDuel Sportsbook. I think that is a favorable enough number. Saw some, late in that London game, Russell Wilson started chucking it deep. I thought that was pretty encouraging. Nathaniel Hackett wants him to run a bit more. So maybe the offense gets a bit better. I'm not banking on that, but also again, my model is assuming they don't get any better. They stay baseline. So I think that I will take the Broncos here plus 124. Those are the ones I'm taking right now. There are 2 spots where my numbers are showing value that I'm not taking. And probably will not take. Like we talked about the Bengals last week. It's like, okay, I'll take this once it gets to X, and it got there. I don't think I'll be on these two. That's the Packers +5 against the Cowboys and the Steelers +2.5 against the Saints. The Packers one, anecdotally, I agree with. I think anecdotally, I should want to back the Packers +5 because they've got the stink on them and stuff like that. I agree with the logic, but I don't know who will be available for them. Like if we rule out Romeo Doubs, rule out Christian Watson, and it's like Sammy Watkins, and Lazard and stuff like that. Once I rule those guys out, it's very possible the Packers will no longer be a value in this model. So I'm going to hold off there. If we were to get good injury news, maybe I would bite and it keeps on moving. Maybe I'd bite then, but my model, the 2022 one, loves the Cowboys. Like it has them, I think, top 5 in the power rankings right now. So it loves the Cowboys. I don't really want to bet against them. So probably not going to fire there. As for the Steelers, my 2022 only model doesn't agree with this one. It thinks New Orleans should be favored by 2.84 points. So model disagreement. I don't really want to bet a Steelers versus Saints game anyway. So I'm going to take that as like an excuse to not bet it. So I'll stay out of that one as well. So my current week 10 card is the Chargers +7 against the 49ers, the Lions money line at +128 against the Bears, and the Broncos money line at +124 against Titans. Not sure I'll add, honestly. I did get the Vikings money line with the Josh Allen news yesterday. I'm hoping that one winds up being a bad bet because I want to watch Josh Allen play. But I think that's not. I'm not seeing any value with where the market is right now. So I'll probably wind up standing pat on those three as far as the traditional markets go. We might talk about more on Thursday, but as of right now, I'm guessing that'll probably be where I wind up. So Chargers +7, Lions money line, Broncos money line. What we got for week 10 right now. Before I close up for today, though, got to look back at last week and recap what went down here on the show. For the college football show, we had Ben Brown, a Pro Football Focus, on to talk about that. He is on Twitter at PFF_Ben Brown. Ben was on Notre Dame for their upset of Clemson. He had the spread at a +3.5. They won that game outright in dominant fashion, so kudos to Ben on that one. In the Miami FSU game, Ben did have Miami +7.5. That one didn't go as well, but did get some closing line value here. That one closed at 6.5. So got across a key number, closed 6.5, point of movement for him. FSU torched him. So, didn't get the win, but hey, CLV got to make you feel at least a little bit better about that one there. Ben also had Maction on Wednesday night when we talked. He wanted Central Michigan +3.5 in the first half against Northern Illinois, and they blanked him in the first half, 21-0 for CMU. They won that game 35-22. So good call by Ben on that one. 2-1 week overall helps erase the stink of the Miami one. So good week by Ben. And again, check him out on Twitter at PFF_Ben Brown. Ed's bet was on Texas A&M and Florida under 55.5. He got 2 points of CLV there, closed at 53.5, but a shootout in the first half, 31 points in the first quarter. It did slow down and finish at 65, but that was still over the total there. So Ed's had a weird year. A lot of good movement in his favor. And I think that long-term, you're going to take movement every time. So long-term, I think that Ed's numbers are looking good. They're getting good CLV. Not the results right now, but he's in line with the market. He's getting ahead of where the numbers are going. I think that is a better long-term indicator of success than what the results may say. I had a profitable week finally. It had been a while. That was good. Felt good. It wasn't the bets that I thought would do well that won, which is kind of weird. I felt really good about the Falcons money line at +140. I got good CLV there. Closed at +122. They had a Drake London fumble in the red zone that really killed them. I was watching that game, saw him catch it, and you could tell when Khalil Mack was behind him, like, uh-oh, this isn't going to go well for me. Ripped it out of his hands. And I was like hoping for a miracle. Got the Austin Eckler fumble late in that game. Falcons pick it up. They fumble it right back. And the Chargers wind up winning. So I don't know. It's two teams that didn't want to win, it kind of seemed like. So I'm not sure if I should have won that game. It would have been a push if I had taken +3, but I did take the money line. So that one lost. It's whatever. I got movement there, and it just didn't work out. I got it to move against me for the Jags and Raiders, which kind of surprised me, honestly. I took that at +106, and it lengthened over the weekend. But the Jags played really well. The Raiders did not. The Raiders have now blown 3 separate 17-point leads, and I've had the money line on the opposing team twice. One with the Cardinals, one with the Jags. So not sure if that means it's lucky that I've gotten those 2 bets, but it's still money in my pocket, so I'll take it either way. But the Jags, I thought Trevor Lawrence played really well again. So talked about some negative highlight bias with him. I think that played out well during the game Sunday. So felt good about the Jags with the results and the process. I had the Colts plus 5.5. Whoops. Oh boy. That got to 4.5, went back to 5 with the JT news, then closed again at 4.5. And we know how that one went. Sam Ehlinger played brutal. The offense, bad. So that was bad. Got good movement, but did not win that one. I talked on Tuesday about wanting to bet the Bengals. It was 7.5 when we spoke. I said I would bet it there if it stayed there, but I wanted to see if it would get to 7. So I wanted to hold off. It got to 7, I think at like noon on Tuesday. So took that one there. It did a couple hours later, but the half point didn't matter. I'm still okay with being strict, being price sensitive with that one. Didn't matter. They were up 35-0 at half. They won that game by 21. So the half point didn't matter, but felt good to read the market properly, get that extra half point, and then get the win with the Bengals there. The one Thursday edition for me was the Bucks money line at minus 146. That went down to minus 152 at close. They had a rally, but they did get there. They did not make that easy. They did not make it fun. But Tom Brady, led them down that drive. It felt pretty good. I didn't really feel that nervous about it. Like, I know they were down, know they needed a touchdown, but I didn't feel that bad about it. So got the win there. Overall week, not that bad. Nice little bounce back here. It's been not the best year by any means, so it was good to get that bounce back with those bets last week. We had Tom Vecchio on Friday to talk player props. Check out Tom on Twitter at DFS_Tom. Tom had both the yardage props he discussed. Those were on Tom Brady, over 272.5 passing yards, and Curtis Samuel at 49.5 receiving yards. Brady finished with 280, thanks to that last drive there. So both Tom and I benefited from that one. Samuel had a 49-yard touchdown reception aided by a referee jacking up a safety, but, it still counts. Samuel finished with 65 yards in the day. So Tom hit both those. Touchdown bets for Tom were on Romeo Doubs and Robert Tonyan. Their lone touchdown for the Packers was to Allen Lazard. So those ones didn't hit, but he had Joe Mixon. He had a single touchdown at minus 125, and Joe Mixon went for 5. So hopefully you listened to that one, got the Mixon at minus 125. Maybe you went to an alternate market. Not sure if FanDuel offers a 5+ touchdown, alternate market, but he did hit that one there. The one that Tom asked me about, and I talked him out of, which I shouldn't have, was Tyreek Hill, even money for anytime touchdown. I said no. So of course Hill scored. So listen to Tom on props, touchdown props, not me, but good week by Tom there overall. Check him out on Twitter at DFS_Tom. Ryan Williams on Twitter, Ryan Alexander _W. Check him out there. Really nice Sunday for Ryan once again. Couple of spreads on underdogs who won the game outright. Those were the Seahawks +2 and the Lions +3.5. Both those teams won. Other one was the Falcons +3. They pushed. So he was smart to take the points. I did not. So Ryan got the push there. 2-0-1 for him on spreads on Sunday. Last week, or the show for last night, we didn't get a whole lot right there. Anytime touchdowns discussed were Taysom Hill +170, Alvin Kamara -110, Lamar Jackson +145, Rashid Shaheed at 11-1. Kenyon Drake, Juwan Johnson, and Isaiah Likely had the lone touchdowns there. Ryan did, though, hit Chris Olave over 63.5 receiving yards. He finished with 71. So not the best Monday for us, but still a solid week overall for Ryan. Again, check Ryan out on Twitter at Ryan Alexander _W. I think that he's doing a really good job overall. So feeling good about what Ryan's done. Appreciate Tom, Ben, and Ed for spreading their insights as well. Looking at my numbers, not just the ones we discussed in the show, I think last week was probably the best week as far as back testing on my numbers, both with the money line market and the spread market. Got some good movement, got good results on those. So I'm feeling optimistic heading into week 10 based on what those numbers said. It's been a weird year overall, but I think based on the movement, based on the results, based on like all the bets together, not just the ones that I decided to take, feeling pretty good. So we'll see if we can spin it forward and have a good week 10 as well. That is all that we have here for today. But as mentioned, we are back once again tomorrow with Dr. Ed Feng to break down week number 11 in college football. We'll be talking to him about that, breaking down the biggest games and where Ed's numbers are seeing value. That'll be up in the afternoon. We're going to record in the afternoon, so should be up by probably 4 p.m. Eastern. So get that on the Covering the Spread podcast feed, and it'll be up that night over on the FanDuel YouTube page as well. NFL preview with Ryan coming up on Thursday, and player props with JJ coming up on Friday, all right here in this exact same feed. If you've got any questions for me, I am on Twitter at Jim Sannes, JIMSANNES. You can also follow the FanDuel Podcast Network at FanDuel Podcast. Big thank you to everyone for tuning in. Good luck to you with your NBA, college basketball, whatever it may be, bets for tonight. We'll talk to you once again tomorrow to break down some college football. This has been Covering the Spread right here on the FanDuel Podcast Network.